being transferred, nothing to really oppose it, and I think that's because of off timing. Great doesn't really. That's the difference between, you can tell, super skilled players and players a little bit in unfamiliar territory. Is if it was a standard, I think, Terran player, you'd see that Vulture running out in the field and sniping everything. But the Dragoons running up with the Observer to try to push on that front door. Unfortunately, they're equal numbers of Dragoons and tanks, but they're in Reach's hands, and we know Reach likes being hyper-aggressive. Could be dangerous. That SCV going to be able to wander in, kind of get a scope out. That's going to force that the Dragoons a little bit forward there. Not sure why he decided to move them forward instead of keeping them behind the pylon otherwise. But that is a huge number of tanks. Let's see if he just continues with the tanks and tanks and tanks. It looks like he is definitely going to go for a front door push, and I don't see it's going to be up to an Arbiter, I guess just a single Arbiter attacking to really push everything back. So just with that air attack, and I really feel like he's got an option to attack anywhere. He's going to take that bottom left-hand corner. Once those tanks move out in the field, it's going to be up to Reach to kind of defend here. And two more, okay, it looks like 4 more factories in the north to get in the Vultures, and it looks like that Arbiter is going to be out in the field, but I think there's going to be a Science Vessel to match it. There's going to be a ton of tanks out in the field as well, and it looks like this is so Zerg right here. Great just playing with that hatchery out in the dark. This is total Zerg play right here. He's like, oh, maybe I can sneak this. Dragoon's already heading there, nothing to defend it. He's not committing a lot of troops, so I take it back. I don't know why I said he could defend this. He was just hoping that it wouldn't be scouted. But this is exactly, yeah, great thinking he was a Zerg player instead of a Terran player, and it looks like Reach is taking an expansion in the upper right-hand corner as well. So 3 bases versus 4. Reach doing decently on the economics, and it's really up to these tanks to start moving out. Weapons 1 has been upgraded. I think he's waiting for that Science Vessel before he decides to do the full seal push momentarily, and looks like he's got a Vulture there to the 12 o'clock position. Hasn't really spotted anything out otherwise. Still the Dragoons hanging there. First Arbiter out, looks like a second Arbiter on the way. A dropship coming out, so the dropship just hanging out to the 12 o'clock to just make sure that an additional expansion could be planted there, although a single Vulture isn't going to really be able to do much aside from plant a mine to delay that a little bit, which will just force an Observer out there. So it'll be somewhat of delay, but not a massive delay. Single Zealot easily going to be taken out, but between those 4 cannons and the 2 Zealots, those Vultures not going to be able to do much. Feels like this Vulture rests again very late, but got to give it to Reach. And got to give it to, I should say, Great. But Reach, once again, has another expansion. He's going to take a solid economic lead. Looks like he's pretty good tech and troop position right now. He's got enough troops to do multiple position attacks out in the field here. So really, unless Great moves out right now, I have a feeling that essentially his team is going to be in a bad position. He's just moving out a little bit too slowly. He's definitely playing this like a Zerg player. It's like, oh, this is what Terran always does to me. He just kind of slowly pushes out a lot of mines on the front door, waiting for some sort of inevitable attack that just isn't coming, and Reach just taking over the entire map and producing a ton of troops in the meantime. And it looks like we are going to have another switch off, which should put things back. Well, actually, got to have one more switch after this before things are really back in true favor fashion here. So it looks like C going to switch over. Free back in control, and let's see what Free decides to do. Free usually relies a lot on his micro to push out through here. Right now, in a bad macro situation, you can see C's like, wow, look at the cool army you built me. It's great. Not a lot of troops down on the ground. Armor 1 has been upgraded. Still just sitting on 3 bases. Looks like he floated out another expansion to 6 o'clock. Has a dropship, but I'm sorry, that's not a... I'm not quite understanding the Vultures in the mix with this, but it looks like he's just going to bring some SCVs there. Recall could absolutely devastate that, and there's that Arbiter unopposed from the air, just kind of moving out, taking a couple pot shots at the Vultures. Reach knows that, I'm sorry, not Reach, who's on the keyboard now. C knows that expansion's at the 6 o'clock. I don't think he really needs to worry about it at this stage, but just a single Vulture there at the 6, like, as opposed to plant a couple mines. It looks like a shuttle already headed that direction. I don't think that expansion's going to last extremely long. Free has to know it. You can see the look on his face. He's like, a Vulture there? Yeah, totally, that's going to defend everything. And now a big attack starting to move in. Finally, the Vulture's able to sneak in, find this upper right-hand base, but it's far too late. He's already got a couple cannons. Might be able to get some probe kills, but I don't think he's going to be able to get a lot else. And there's that drop at the 6 o'clock location before there's really any anti-air, and that single Vulture obviously did not last long at all. So let's see if he can load up and get something there to take care of the 4 troops of Vultures running headlong into that mass army right there. And it looks like a recall running right in. Beautiful recall right over the factory line. Oh, man. And you can see Free. He's like, what? I was supposed to defend that? And there's the Science Vessel up above. So he does have detection. C getting putting on some concentration here. Trying to take out what he can, beautifully taking out the army. That's really going to hurt whose team here? Free's team, because he's going to be behind on upgrades. That I think their upgrade was running. Free knows it. He's like, crap. What is he? I have no idea what he can do to really push out of this situation. You can see kind of frustration on his face. Taking some economic damage. That was a really nice recall, I have to say, by C. He ended up losing a good portion of his army, but I think he did enough damage to really make up for it. Looks like he stopped the science vessel in production as well, I assume, at this stage, or at least a dropship if it was being produced. Got a lot of SEVs. The SEVs, I don't think they ever transferred. If they did, they've been flooded out at this stage. And gotten a couple kills, and otherwise on top of it, that Arbiter is still just chilling unopposed, taking some stuff out. So a couple supply depots, critically both armories down. So that's going to be the upgrade victory across the board for C's team right now. And that's really, if he was going for kind of a delayed mass attack, that's really not going to pay off for him. He's also going to need to get an army up just to get Goliath out to counter this Arbiter. He's still got that single cloaked Zealot, and the Arbiter just wailing away at this. Finally, the science vessel moving up and able to take it out, but nothing to stop that Arbiter still. Still those Zealots hanging out at the 6 o'clock. Another base being taken in the upper end corner by C. And another recall. Fortunately, an EMP going off this time. That's going to stop that recall from going off. So that was really clutch right there from Free at least. But he's got a large enough... I'm not sure why that probe is in the mix. Decided he didn't want an attack, so just wiped it out. It's like, what are you doing here? That embarrasses me. Just kills it outright. But right now, a brutal economy on Seaside, and he's going to take some additional expansions. Already has 2 starports and stargates, and he can start pumping arbiters and pumping troops. This is a great position for him. Somehow Free managed to sneak out that 3 o'clock. Still trying to finally drop some vultures here, but they're not going to have a lot of room to maneuver here. Quickly taken out. So, yeah, and still 2 Zealots just chilling. Doesn't look like he's going to land it just yet. Critically, though, those Stargates are not building troops, but that should change momentarily as we get the other switch. And let's see if he recognizes it. Now, okay, finally able to take this 6 o'clock location. I'm curious if it's too little too late. And engaging an attack right as the timer is pulling up, and I'm not sure if that was such a good idea. Okay, now switching over. Leta back at the driver's seat, which is going to definitely help against Luxury. So Luxury's turn to fluster a bit against the player who's with the race he's used to, and Free's like, look, okay, I tried to do this, I tried to do that. I know that was probably a bad idea, but whatever. Let's see how it works. 9 o'clock location is pumping. He's gotten both factories back up and running. I don't think he's going to be able to deny this 3 o'clock attack, though. He's got a couple mines there. He's got actually a really sizable attack force, so I take that back. But 1 or 2 stasis from Luxury, and that could be disastrous. See if he can run up, get a good EMP off. If he can